It's been 55 days since I started the AeroGarden. Today, I'm going to give you a really quick update, show you how the plants are doing so far, and give a few more of my thoughts about it. Stick around. This is In the Garden. Thanks for joining me. Whether you're a new viewer or a returning subscriber, I'm glad you're here. This is In the Garden, where I share tips and tools to help new gardeners be successful in backyard vegetable gardening. Today, we're inside again and we're talking about the AeroGarden. It's been 55 days since I started the AeroGarden seed pods, so I'm just going to give an update on the plants so far and give a few of my thoughts about it. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like button so I know you're enjoying the videos, and if you're new here, consider subscribing so you can get all my latest content. As you can see, 5 out of the 6 plants in my AeroGarden are doing really well and they've grown really large already. The only one that hasn't grown large is the parsley. The parsley is really small compared to the others. I think the biggest problem with it was that it had such a long germination time that by the time it started to come out of the pod, the other plants were already growing over it and depriving it of light. So it's just too small compared to the other plants to get enough light. What maybe I should have done was started that seed pod before the others. That way it could have germinated at the same time. It has a germination time of 21 to 28 days, and the other seed pods germinate as early as 4 to 7 days. So that's a big difference. Those ones got a really long head start before the parsley even had a chance to start growing. Aside from the parsley being small, the other plants are doing really well. Basil, the dill, thyme, the mint, and the other basil all look really well. We've actually been using them in our recipes, cooking our meals, for some time now. We started picking and harvesting probably by the 3rd or 4th week after planting the seed pods. And the herbs are actually really tasty. So it's working out really well for our recipes. One thing that I should have done was started pruning the dill a lot earlier. The dill grew really fast, and as you can see, it's all the way up to the top of the light. This is as high as the light goes, and the dill is touching against it and even growing up above it. And we've been pruning it. If I had started pruning earlier, I could have kept it at a lower height so that it wouldn't be touching the light. So I waited a little bit too long to start pruning the dill. But all the other plants, they're pruned perfectly, so they're kept away from the top of the light, but they're still growing really well, and they've actually started filling out. You can see how well the mint is doing, that it's actually really large. It has a lot of different stems growing, so it's doing really well. We don't use mint a lot, so I actually haven't been using this in a lot of things, but it's growing really well. The basil, both types of basil have been doing really well, and my wife has been using those in a lot of recipes. She picks them off fresh and uses them straight into a recipe, or we even pick off extras when pruning and just let them dry to use later on. The same with the dill. We put dill in a lot of stuff, but this is producing so much dill that we actually have tons of it just drying because we can't use it fast enough. The thyme is doing really well also. My wife has used it a little bit, but we haven't pruned nearly as much thyme off, but you can see that it's still growing really well, so we're really happy with that also. At this point, with how large the plants are, I've been adding water every 3 to 4 days. So it's going through a lot more water than it was when they first started. As far as the unit and its functions, it's working perfectly just like it's supposed to. I've had no issues with the control panel not working or with the light not turning on. It's doing everything the way it's supposed to do so far. The only thing I've noticed about it in any way is that here on top of the grow deck, there's this little bit of goop forming, and it looks like it's water condensation coming up through the crack somehow and getting on top. And it's all brown, probably because of the plant food. But other than that, it's just fine. The light is working fine. The container is just fine. I don't see any signs of mold or mildew or anything like that. So it looks really nice. It still works perfectly right here on my kitchen counter. In my earlier video, I pointed out how bright the light was. The light is so overwhelmingly bright that it's almost irritating to have it on. But as the plants started to grow and fill in more, the light became less of an issue as the plants are kind of blocking the light from coming out into the room. So it makes it not so irritating to have the light on. It's still really bright though, even with all the plants in it. So that's pretty much it. So far, I'm really happy with the AeroGarden during the first 55 days. I don't really have any complaints. It's working as I expected it to, and everything from it has been really delicious so far. I think it was a good investment, and I'm happy with how the plants are growing, and it's been a fun experience to try it out. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. And if you want to watch my other AeroGarden videos, everything from unboxing to setup and adding plant food, there's a playlist right there on my channel. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.